During the Ferguson protests, Darren Seals had been very critical of outsiders who he thought were trying to co-opt the movement for their own purposes, though it may seem counterintuitive to people not from St. Louis, especially so many years later. But in the early chaos that was the Ferguson Uprising, or what might be better simply referred to as the movement, Black Lives Matter was not an organic outgrowth of local activism. In fact, the people behind what was at the time a small and little-known organization, Black Lives Matter, was made up of outsiders. And Darren was very outspoken about how he felt about them.
Black Lives Matter is a bunch of computer nerds, Twitter activists. They don't do shit but tweet while we was in the streets, turn shit up, protest. They was just sitting back tweeting, Twitter fingers, So you got a lot of people sending them money, turning them into stars. And if you notice, as it's blowing up, you're not hearing about Mike Brown anymore. You're not hearing about Darren Wilson anymore. You're not hearing about the Ferguson Police Department anymore. We're not hearing about none of this corrupt shit by McCullough, Jay Nixon. You're not hearing about none of this shit no more. All you're hearing about is Black Lives Matter now. They took the energy away from Ferguson. But they did it so intelligently, a lot of people didn't understand what was going on when it was going on, so they was helping these motherfuckers. Not even knowing, they stealing our shit, they stealing our shine. A lot of cats went to jail for us to be the main topic in the media. A lot of cats risked their life. Spook got shot in the head. She could be dead right now. You know what I mean? A lot of shit happened for this shit to grow into what it became. There was an opportunity to really fight back and really make a change in Ferguson and Missouri as a whole. They just clearly got away with murder. Now they on to the next city, then the next city, then the next city, then the next city, being superstars off our shit we created here, while we sitting back still like, damn. Cops ain't stopped killing her since Mike Brown died. And what Black Lives Matter doing about it? They just collecting checks. I ain't heard of them paying for no funerals. I ain't heard of them starting no programs for the youth, building no centers, nothing. You know what I mean? So we back at square one, back where we started. No justice, no nothing.
Darren wasn't the only person in Ferguson who felt that outsiders were trying to co-opt the movement for their own purposes.
At some point, there was a strategic effort, and they pretty much took over the movement. They had a strategy of sending out signs that said Black Lives Matter. There was so much worldwide media there that people who were not able to actually participate, they associated the signs that they were seeing, Black Lives Matter. And this became a hustle because people were donating to what the signs that they seen. The people who were sitting at home, they didn't know that they were giving money to an organization that had little or nothing to do with the progress of change. The local activists who were in the meetings, having the discussions, they were the ones who actually did the work, but Black Lives Matter got the credit.
As founders of Black Lives Matter national organization were lesbian women, and as some of their more high-profile supporters online, like DeRay McKesson, were gay, Darren's criticism of the Black Lives Matter organization was often written off as homophobia. The antagonism between Darren and Black Lives Matter was even cited as a possible motivation behind his murder.
And in the aftermath of this, you've had people throwing accusations at black lesbians there in Ferguson, trying to blame them for his death as well. All of this just back and forth that's going on as people are trying to figure out what in the world happened.
Before his death, Darren took to the internet to respond to the people who claimed that he was homophobic.
I don't get nothing against them because they gay. I don't agree with the lifestyle of homosexuality, but I don't agree with a lot of shit people do. I'm not gonna dislike you because you do some shit I don't like. I'm pretty sure I do shit people don't like, I don't agree with, ain't healthy for me in their eyes. So disagree on lifestyles, but they use that shit as a shield. When they doing all this bullshit, they try to come say, oh, he's just homophobic, he hated, man, my auntie been married to a woman since forever. So it ain't about that, but they'll use that to distract people, make them people think like, oh, don't take what he's saying serious because he just some homophobic thug nigga. He just, angry, all that.
In a sense, Darren's suspicions of the National Black Lives Matter organization were realized in January 2022, when an article in New York Magazine titled "The Murky Finances of Black Lives Matter" highlighted what many would call mismanagement of donated funds. Darren had complained in the videos he made that the big money flowing into Black Lives Matter hadn't been used to fund any community projects in Ferguson. According to the article, what is officially known as Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation is linked to a complex web of different nonprofits, for-profits, and political action committees, some of which are operated by high-ranking members of BLM. According to the article, there is a pattern of collecting donations from the public and then funneling them to the friends and family of people like BLM co-founder Patrisse Cullors.
Following the murder of George Floyd in 2020, supporters donated a staggering $90 million to Black Lives Matter. The nonprofit has spent most of that money, ending last year with a $9 million deficit. Federal filings from 2020 to 2022 show just a third, $30 million, went to other charitable organizations. $22 million went to expenses. This includes millions paid to board members and family members of co-founder Patrisse Cullors. For example, $1.6 million went to the father of Cullors' child for security services. Another $2.1 million went to BLM board member Shaloma Bowers for consulting.
According to the article, parents of Black children killed by police made public denouncements of the group's behavior, and this included Tamir Rice's mother, Samaria, and Mike Brown Jr.'s father, Mike Brown Sr.
One thing I always say about when you are an activist, a real activist, it doesn't stop. It's sort of like a sentence. You are concerned until it changes. And these people who have benefited don't seem to care anymore. We haven't seen some of them since 2014.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
What you're looking at is the aftermath of the grand jury deciding not to indict officers.
29-year-old Darren Seals was murdered before his killer set his car on fire.
Once they put out the flames, they discovered Seals' body inside with a gunshot wound.
He pointed guns on me and my 14-year-old little brother. It's Ferguson PD. Grabbed me by my heart, slammed me out the car. He said you might want to pick your enemies better.
This is After the Uprising, Season 2, The Murder of Darren Seals.